So now I'd like to introduce the speaker for today. It's me. So today is a day of resurrection. And my story is a story of resurrection. It's a story of going from hopelessness to hope, from fear to peace, from depression to gratitude. And that's the story I'm going to tell you this morning. But this church is also resurrecting right now as well. So my story of yes can be your story right now. Right now. So 7 years ago, at the age of 52, I was in a dismal state of affairs. I was stuck in a job I didn't like, building a product I didn't believe in, working for people I could not respect. And I endured that for a number of years. That was no good. I was over 50 pounds overweight. I looked it up at one point because this was after I met Julie. I looked it up and it says I'm obese. It says that I'm not obese. We don't know these things about ourselves, but I was. And I thought, well, maybe I could lose 20 pounds. It said I needed to lose a lot more than that. That was frustrating. But I'd given up on health. I'd given up on activity. I'd given up on the idea of finding love. Maybe that's happened to some of you. I had tried, but I'd gotten to feel that these internet dates were painful. They were just painful. And generally I knew within the first 5 minutes, this person is not even the slightest bit on the same wavelength as me. How do I get out of this? And that kind of thing. So it was no good. As Julie and I would say, it was terrible, terrible, terrible. We have triple T when we really don't like something. I had no sense of spirituality, no community. I was depressed, clinically depressed, anxious. I was so anxious that as much as I hated my job, the weekend was worse. Because there was nothing. There was a big hole that I literally could not fill. So I would look forward to Monday. It was crazy. But at least I had something. I could have a cup of coffee. I could talk to some of the people that I worked with. But on the weekend, I just watch movies or sleep. It was no good. I was living a life of no. I had said no to my heart. I had said no to my dreams. I dreamed of being a musician. I'd said no to that a long time ago. I had said no to life. I was like Jim Carrey in the movie Yes Man. Have anybody seen that movie? Well, if you haven't seen it, it's very funny. But if you haven't seen it, he plays a loan officer in a bank whose wife has recently left him. And he will not say yes to anything. Every single loan application. No, 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 no. His friends call him the cell phone. He won't answer it. He won't even answer his door. And he is miserable, miserable, miserable. That's what I was. So how did that happen? How did I start out doing that? I wasn't like that as a child. But I came to inhabit a family role, an expectation. And in my family, the role was, I was the good son. I was the good boy. I was the dependable one. You didn't have to worry about Tim. He's fine. Everything's okay with Tim. He gets good grades, he does his sports, He does everything needed to please my parents, whereas my brother and sister had trouble doing that. I was the youngest, so I came along and I fixed everything. That was my role. So out of that, I developed an obligation to others rather than to myself. So I said yes, but in a very, very bad way. Because I wasn't saying yes out of my heart. I was saying yes out of the expectation that I needed to say yes to keep everything okay, to keep everything together. That was really what I did. I got married out of that need to fix somebody. My kids, I didn't even make a decision for that. It just happened. Now, I love my kids, but if you haven't had them yet, I urge you to have them out of a choice. It's far better that way. So, but what I was doing after all that, I was avoiding my own dreams. And it wasn't all out of obligation to others, because that has a flip side, and that's fear. What happens if I do my dreams and I fail? Well, then what will I have fixed? I'm supposed to be the successful one. So I stayed in a career in software where I could be successful and move on and just wonder why I was going to work every day making a product that didn't do anything that I could see useful for anybody. It would never work correctly. So I developed a lot of resentment and anger too. And that's the flip side of depression if you don't know it, if you've not experienced it. You get angry, but you're impotent in your mind to change anything. So you get resentful and angry. In fact, suicide was an option for me that I considered very, very seriously. I tried medications, they did not help me. I tried a lot of therapy. It was okay, but it didn't change the underlying issue that I had. The medications for me were not okay. They just made me weird. So that's how I got to this. Weird. So, like I said, I'd said no to my church, my faith. I'd said no to my friends. I had very few friends left. I didn't want to bother them with my problems. I'd said no to my health because I was obese. And that's how I got to that miserable place. So I decided to say one small yes. Just one. And that changed my life. You know, Jim Carrey in the movie said yes to a homeless guy. He went to a yes workshop, which, by the way, I'm going to have a workshop. It's not a yes workshop, but it'll help you with that. And he had to say yes to everything that came along. First thing that came along was a homeless guy wanting a ride out to some park in the middle of nowhere. He had to say yes. He said yes when the homeless guy said, "Can I have all your money?" He had to say yes. He ended up running out of gas and having to walk to a gas station. Well, as he's at that gas station, a little young woman on a motor scooter rolls up. And that woman turns out to be the love of his life. Well, I said yes. One day I was in the office, minding my own business, doing software, and my boss comes in. "Hey, there's someone I want you to meet." Okay, fine. I go out to the foyer, and there's the carpet lady. We're getting a remodel, and there's a carpet lady out there. "Tim, this is Deborah. Deborah, this is Tim. Hi." I'm thinking, why am I meeting the carpet lady? What is the purpose here? Okay. And he says to her, "Tim is the most eligible bachelor in Pinellas County. Can you fix him up with somebody?" I did not ask for this. I don't know where it came from. The universe. I said, "Oh, Lord." And she said, "Sure, I'll fix you up with somebody." And she said, "What are you looking for?" Well, I'm embarrassed at this point. "Somebody who's bright and has a nice smile." Okay, great. Well, she shortly gets me information of a woman, and I proceed to do nothing. Nothing. A couple weeks later, I'm in my office, my boss calls me, hey, can you come in my office and chat with me for a second? Okay, fine. That's not an unusual request. I go in there, and who's there? The carpet lady. You haven't called Julie. I know, I'll do it. So I figured I had to do it at this point. So here's the lesson. You don't have to say yes perfectly. It's not perfection. Any way you get there is okay and works. Because I said yes by writing Julie one of the worst emails I've ever written in my entire life. Here was the email. I guess they're not going to leave us alone until we get together. Yeah, I can see the women out there going, yeah. When I said that, I knew that was not good. I pressed in and I thought that was not a good thing. Yeah, so here's the interesting thing. Deborah had told Julie, I wasn't like the other guys she had dated. I was nice. And then Julie got that email and thought, maybe he is like the other guys. So I'll call him. She did call me. We spent 3 hours talking on the phone that day. We connected immediately. I had said an imperfect yes, and that brought Julie into my life. So I'm telling you right now, yes works. Yes works. So I got an idea after this. What if I just start saying yes to things at this point? And in fact, Julie was a yes person. She said yes to almost everything. So I thought, you know what? I'll just do whatever she does. If she wants to do something, I'll say yes. So she wanted to go dancing. I said yes. I went out and I tried dancing. I wasn't that great at it, by the way. But I did say yes. She wanted me to try eggplant. I said yes. I don't like eggplant still. So yes works, but it's not magic. I say it's magic, but it's not quite magical. It's powerful. It doesn't work for everything. I said yes to avocados, and I hated avocados. Do you know why I hated them? They were green and mushy. I never tasted it. Yes, exactly. I love avocados now. I said yes to many, many small things. One of the things I said yes to that was very important, though, is I said yes to a healthy diet. I said yes to a diet that consisted of whole plant-based foods. And I lost 50 pounds by doing that. I didn't stop eating, and I stopped eating the things that were bad for me, and I started eating all the things that were good for me. Nobody warns you, don't eat too many vegetables. There's no other food that you can say that about. Substitute anything that's not a plant in there, and you get a warning. So why not just eat the things that you don't get a warning about? So if you're interested in that, I have this book. It's called How Not to Die. I know. But the meaning is how not to die of chronic disease. And a plant-based diet is how you don't do that. So we offer the book because I believe that a healthy mind has to be supported by a healthy body. If you don't have a healthy body, it's very hard to think clearly. Your brain is not getting the oxygen it needs if you're not healthy. The same things that the plaque that's in our arteries that we all have if we eat the standard American diet also blocks blood flow to the brain. So eating a healthy diet will help you change your mind and change your life. So that's my talk on that. So one of the things I said yes to was going to a New Thought church. I didn't want to go. Julie said, I go to the Unity Church down in St. Pete, and if you want to go, you can go. I said, no, I don't want to go. I'd had enough of God, the whole thing was moving. But then I realized, what am I going to be doing while she's at church? And the answer was nothing. And I had a lot of years of nothing. So I thought, I'll go. And I didn't like it at first, especially the God stuff. It's like, I just wouldn't even say it. But I came to understand what it meant in that context, and that it wasn't what I thought it was. And going to that church, and then later coming here, after we learned about Suncoast, allowed me to have a new way of thinking. It started me on a new way of thinking. I had a new physical life coming into being, and I had a new mental life coming into being. It takes many, many things to support a new life. So that enabled me to embark on a spiritual practice I had always wanted to do, and that's the path of the Buddhist teachings. And I would not have been able to do that without these rooms. I said yes to one other small thing. You can say yes to something, and something completely different happens that you never expect. Please say yes to things, and you will find the universe doing crazy, crazy stuff. Julie and her friend Deborah, the carpet lady, who introduced us, well, they were best friends. They would go to Rehoboth Beach a few times a year. Deborah had family there, and Julie was like part of the family. She said, I'd like you to come to Rehoboth Beach with me. My response was, no, I have a beach. Why do I want some cruddy beach in Delaware? It's cold up there. The sand is not going to be like Clearwater Beach. So I had all sorts of reasons. But then I remembered, oh yeah, you're doing this yes thing. So I said, okay, I will go with you. Well, I went up there, and they had some things planned for me, to sort of ease me into Rehoboth Beach. So we get in on a Thursday night, and we're supposed to go to a restaurant where there's a band playing that Deborah's brother Steve knows. He's a guitar player. I jam with these guys in the band. They're very nice, and I have a fun evening, and it's all good. Well, that was nice. So the next day, we're at a pizza joint. This is before I started eating whole foods. So we're at a pizza joint, and with Deborah and Steve, and Deborah and I both get up and we're going to use the restroom. I come back, and Steve and Julie are talking about musicians in Rehoboth Beach. Blah, 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 and this guy, John Thompson, blah, blah, blah. So I hear this, and I think, that's interesting, because I know a guy named John Thompson. There's a lot of John Thompsons. But I had a songwriting mentor named John Thompson who steered me back into songwriting maybe 10 years ago, and I lost track of him. I could not find him. He moved to Nashville, and then something happened, and he moved somewhere else. He wasn't on social media. I didn't know where to find him. So I say, so who's this John Thompson? Oh, he's this singer-songwriter guy that, lives up here. I have heard of him. He wrote a song called El Shaddai, and he wrote this song called Sanctuary. And I was like, no! That's my John Thompson that I couldn't find. How did this happen in a little town of Rehoboth Beach? He didn't live there when I knew him, but he was there. And we got together, and he said, Tim, you've got to do this thing. You've waited too long. And that was the message from the universe that capped it all off. And I said, that's it. I'm doing it. And a few months later, we were up in Delaware. I was working on my CD. Never too late. So saying yes to one thing can allow the universe to bring... If I hadn't said yes to that trip, would I have found him? No. Not for a long time. So that is the beauty of yes. So I just want to say that saying yes led me to my true vocation. But if you're stuck and you need healing, sometimes the affirmations don't really work. I was doing meditation, I was doing yoga, and even after all that, I still found myself stuck from time to time in this old anxiety and depression. But I came across something very, very important. And I did this by watching a video of Jill Bolte Taylor, who's a brain researcher. Have you seen it, My Stroke of Insight? It's a TED Talk. She's a 37-year-old brain researcher who has a stroke, and she's aware of things. Her left brain is shut down, her right brain is functioning. In that state, she is one with everything. She is completely happy. She has no chatter about her old life. She has no worries. She has no fear. She has reached nirvana. That really fascinated me as a Buddhist. Well, I thought, okay, she says, everybody can do this. I'm thinking, how? How? I don't want to have a stroke. And B, I need my left brain. I can't function without it. I have to speak. I have things, I have errands to run. I have songs to write. I just can't be one with everything all the time. So I started looking into this, and what I found was on her site, someone had posted a comment about a method called the Synchro method by a Russian psychologist, Dr. Hasai Aliyev. And I thought, I'll say yes to this, I'll give it a go. And then I read on page 7, the key will help you reach a state of nirvana in the simplest and easiest way. I thought, wow, isn't that interesting? That's what I was looking for. What his method does is it allows you to synchronize right and left brain together. Mind, emotion, body, all towards the same thing. See, here I had a problem. If my affirmation was really good and I wasn't emotionally bought in, nothing was going to happen. I could know things all I want, but I wasn't going to live them. So what his practice does is it allows you to go from a trance state where you basically have one connection between the two halves of your brain, and that connection is fear. You're thinking about fear, you're feeling fear. Anxiety, you're blocked. You're saying no to something. It allows you to unhook that connection, go to a neutral state, and learn how to make a new connection. And it does it through physical and mental combination exercises, where you build your tension up to such a point that you can train your brain to get to a neutral state. Then you can sit after that, and new positive connections will be formed. I can tell you this works from my own experience. I started doing this, and I had the happiest night of my entire life just from doing these exercises. And it's a long story, but I will tell you it works. I'm doing a workshop on this on the 10th of April. It's love offering. You'll get a workbook in the workshop to teach you how to do this as part of that. So if you're blocked in some way, especially if you're dealing with anxiety or depression or anything like that, any kind of fear, or you just want a tool to add more positivity to your life, I can highly recommend this. So I just want to say, I said yes, and it changed my life. Are you ready to say yes?
Yes. Yes.
Say it one more time. Are you ready to say yes?
Yes.
All right. And so it is.
So it is.
Thank you.